Good morning to you. It's actually now 10 o'clock, but we set off quite early to get down to Glastonbury, and this is the view that you have right in front of you. There's a number of churches with towers in the centre of Glastonbury, as you can see, but to my right, of course, this is a very well-known site, the Tor of Glastonbury, and just in front here we have, really, it could be said, a remnant of the holy thorn tree that Joseph of Arimathea brought back to this place 2,000 years ago. And some say that Jesus also came to this land and to this particular part of Britain. It's probably worth mentioning that the word Britain in Hebrew means covenant land, covenant people, and I think that's quite interesting, especially in the times that we're living, because there's no doubt that the country of Britain is going through a lot of change, a lot of unemployment happening, a lot of industrial stuff going on, and apparently, from what I gathered yesterday, there's a lot more people that just don't believe in any kind of God at all. I mean, it's amazing to think that over 300 years you have now people, children, not knowing the truth and the revelation of what Jesus did on the cross and how his life permeated not just in this place but across the world by his testimony, a living testimony, not a dead testimony. So as we look across Glastonbury, yes, there are some dark secrets in this place, but also I really do believe that Joseph did come here. Joseph was a wealthy man, the fifth wealthiest at his time, and did a lot of business in this part of the world. For it's known in Cornwall, Devon, that he mined for tin and copper and lead, and much of the iron deposits, the deposits would have been taken back to the Holy Land as the Romans had use for it. So this man was known, Joseph of Arimathea. He was the uncle of Jesus. There is a bloodline. I might as well tell you how it goes, because Joseph had a brother called Joachim. Joachim had married a woman, a princess from Gaul called Anne, and they went to the Holy Land in the end, and Anne had a baby called Mary, and of course the Virgin Mary had a son called Jesus. So that's the bloodline, that's the connection that we have. And a lot of people have a problem with understanding that people in that day did a lot of traveling. Of course they had boats and various vessels to travel on seas and up rivers, but we have this, I think, very narrow, constricted view that people didn't travel. Well, I can assure you they did, and they moved all over different lands for raising cattle, growing crops. And as we go really northwards here, as you can see, there are a lot of fields, and if I come round this way, over this way, you'll see some of the herringbone type river connections that quite a few years ago, I think over 1,000 years ago, were used to drain the marshes down there, because that was an inland kind of area with water, and they say that the height of the water came up a good 8 metres, so it was quite deep, and that's where the boats came in and various cargoes no doubt were put on board. But we hope later this week to be alongside a good friend of ours, Peter Scuthern, Reverend Peter Scuthern, who's been researching into this for over 60 years now, and we hope to come back to Priddy to record some other information regarding all of this. So please look at the links that are connected to this site. They're put there for research purposes. People that have spent many hours providing and getting information and going through a lot of extensive research work. So, and we just have a belief that there is something about this place. Not just this place, but about, yes, Britain. Maybe it has a destiny in these end times that we're now living in. You mean you've got to be a fool not to recognise that there's something seriously going wrong with the economic situation. Of course, this is all shared really in the Bible. It tells you what is going to happen in the end times. So we leave it there for now and hope to speak with you and share some more stuff later on in the week. God bless. Well,
am I going to look this way? Am I going to look that way?
You can look at me, you can look at the cross, you can look at me.
I'm just going to carry on.
Okay.
I'm going to tell me when you put your thumbs up, and I'm going to start.
Up. We're going.
Do you know, I have got the most interesting job in Glastonbury, working in Glastonbury Abbey as a living history presenter.
Mm-hmm.
Alice Cleeve, 1538. And many people don't really know, in truth, sir, where I come from, because I have a background of history, archaeology, and I'm a trained actress. But you see, deep in my heart, I come from a different place. I'm going to go back to 1990. And for many years, I used to think, why do they go on about the Holy Spirit? Never, the Holy Spirit or the Holy Ghost when we were little?
Yeah.
No idea.
Understand?
Anyway, I was on retreat up at the Abbey House, right at the top end of the Abbey. And in a prayer ministry time, I'd asked the Lord for a bit of guidance. Do you think the Holy Spirit could come to me? Because I don't have a clue. I don't really know where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I was told. Kay, because that's my real name, not Alice Kay, you don't ask for things, it comes to you when you're not expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
So, wrote a little note in the front of my Bible, and perhaps I'm on a little climb up a hill. We'll miss out a few years, but I belong to the church across the way.
Okay.
St. John's Church.
Mm-hmm.
And we're very lucky that we have a prayer team, a ministry team on every Sunday. Anyway, I happened to go across there for something, I don't know what I went for prayers for somebody else. And I was stood there, and suddenly the next thing I knew, I was on the ground. It was not funny.
No.
Because what happened? I was given a gift.
Mm-hmm.
I was given the gift of a wheelbarrow. I can see it now. A wheelbarrow. It was an old wooden wheelbarrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this wheelbarrow was there was nobody there, just a wheelbarrow. And the wheelbarrow was filled with gifts, absolutely filled with gifts. And the interesting thing is they were all glitzy. They were all done up with ribbons. They were gold. I don't know. And the interesting thing is these gifts that were given to me, whatever they were, are still being unwrapped today.
Really?
Every day. Well, not every day, but some. Ooh. And if I get a bit stuck when I want to do something, hang on. Do you think you could give me a gift, Lord? So, I think the first gift that was given to me, without me realising, was that I was asked to come into this abbey to become a living history presenter. And when I'd been in here 2 or 3 years, it is a wonderful place, and people come here for many reasons. We have whether they're pagans, whether they're goddesses, whether they come seeking peace, tranquility, whatever they come from, there's a lot of lonely people out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think for some reason people open up to me. And so I've come to the conclusion that the biggest gift out of this wheelbarrow is the fact that I can stand here, listen to people, and should the need arise, offer them on up. And here's a situation. I'm having fun because I think one of the gifts that I was given was the gift of laughter. I make people laugh all the time, all the time. And it's coming from here.
Yeah.
Just across there, there is a herb garden. And there was a lot of betony growing there. And in my role as Alice, acting silly, but I knew my stuff, I met this couple and I said, this is betony here, sir. It's a wonderful herb. It'll cure anything, because that as Tudors is what we believe. And the lady said, well, help me. And I said, just wondrous. And I went on with my nonsense, you see. And the chap said, I said, but 'tis wonderful. Take a few leaves, put it in a bit of water, 'tis wonderful. And she said, it won't help me. To which I thought, oh, I've now realised I've stumbled upon something. Take a step back, Alice. I said, what's the problem? And she said, my daughter has just killed herself. And I stood there and I thought, this is making me upset now, because I stood there and I thought, here I am acting silly, but I've got a situation in front of me. And she said, my daughter's just killed herself. She'd OD'd and the husband was there, and this is my first time of coming out. So what did I do? I thought, I don't care. Would you like me to pray for you? And I stood there in that grass, in the peace and the quiet of this wonderful place. And I offered up prayers, and off they went. So, I think the end of my testimony, what I'm saying is, and it's still going on, somebody's put me here. I've been put here for a reason. I don't care.
Yeah.
I've been put here because I do my nonsense. I do a really good tour. I make people laugh in the kitchen when we've had a kitchen. But I do meet people who have a problem. Last year there was a child lost at Burnham-on-Sea. Yeah. You can remember it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I was doing my Arthur story for the children. The woman said, thank you very much, that was wonderful. I'm now going up to visit my daughter. And I said, oh yes, because she said the son's in hospital, the little boy's in hospital. And I did another one up in the tent. So I do whatever. I can go for months, and then suddenly someone they'll find me. I don't know where they will find me. But I think the wonderful thing is these gifts that I've been given, they are continually being unwrapped. I go into schools now and I do school assemblies with my husband, but I do it through drama. And what's the best way to get the stories of the Bible over? Through drama. We got a little mouse that talks in our ear. Oh, good. Hello. What? Pardon? What do you want? And as these kids grow up, I met some this morning, 12-year-olds, kids on scooters, scooting down the high street, making a big racket, and they turn to me and they go, hello, Kay. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I think they remember me from the drama I did for school assembly in the school years ago. Here ended the first lesson. Oh dear. You can turn off now. Turn it off.
That's part one.
Not looking for a good cook, sir. I've just lost my job. You got no answer, have you? And Sheila thinks it's funny because I've lost my job.
No.
Anybody looking for a cook here? Either that or husband. I'm Alice, the kitchen maid.
How long have you been doing it, Alice?
Who's that? Oh, help. How long have I been doing this?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. My mother used to work here before me. Pilgrims. I am Alice. The name is Alice. I like to see a smile on people's faces. There's nothing better. It's free. I did have a job in the kitchen across there till Henry VIII came and destroyed it. Now I've lost my job.
Oh.
You sure you don't want a good cook, sir?
I'm alright, thanks.
How much? Right. Welcome, pilgrims. You're late. I like a bit of fun. Right. So the name is Alice. I'm 1530. Well, I am 1539. I'm a bit of an enigma because I'm in character and I'm out of character. So you've got to bear with me. You've got to work with me. The tour is about half an hour-ish. It could be 5 minutes over, or if you ask loads of questions, it will be even longer, but I don't care. I want to take you back 500 years. You are pilgrims, right? You are all pilgrims. That's what you are anyway, pilgrims. Right. Where are you from, mistress?
London.
You must
Thought he
from
grabbed.
London today. I hope you went from London wearing black, very expensive. Where?
Brigstow.
Where's that?
It's north of there, isn't it?
North of the Brigstow. Oh.
Bristol.
Bristol.
Brigstow as well.
Not really.
As
Where
it
are
was
you
in this
from,
year.
mistress? Back there. Where be you from?
London.
In truth, you on holy ground? I can't believe it. What's everybody doing from London?
How about somebody from Texas?
Yeah, we're from
Where's
Texas.
that, sir?
Oh, no, we didn't exist
Never heard of
500 years ago.
I'll tell you what, anybody that to come down from London, especially if they're dressed all in black, they might be the King's Commissioners, and I ain't got time for them. Come on, pilgrims. You are pilgrims. Right, where's Master John? Is he coming? Is he coming with me?
John's not coming. What, my John?
Yes. Jordan, watch where you're walking. You just come through the walls. I like a bit of fun. These outlines here are where the walls are. That shows you where the thickness of the walls are. So having come through the gates, pilgrims, you would walk across the track, and here is your entrance into the great nave. So if you'd all come into the North Porch. Right, how's your feet, me dear? How's your feet? Good. Good? Not good. Not bad. Right. As in old porches, when you enter, all along the inside of the wall here, there would be a stone seat for sit down. You could shelter here from the rain, and this wonderful North Porch is just like the tower of St. John's Church there. Pilgrims, don't just think, oh, I thought you were getting some money out, sir, because don't think you can come here without any money, all right?
I am sorry, ma'am.
Well, I hope you've all bought a few groats. It just depends. Don't matter how poor you are, but I think you may need to pay for a few things. Here's the main door here, right? Which we're going to go in. And the thing is this, pilgrims. Pilgrims come here for several reasons. Many of you, where's Master Jordan? I know why he's come here. Many of you have come here to have your sins forgiven, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, I know some of you have. Well, just on the big Magna Tabula that's written here, for those of you that could read, on the Magna Tabula, the great tablet, will tell you how many years and days we can offer you to get you out of purgatory. We can offer 64 years and 179 days. So those of you who've got a lot of spying to do, right? Some have come for healing. Some have given thanks. Why has this lady come here? She's come to give thanks for the birth of a child. Because we lose so many children that for a child to be born and to survive birth and to grow up into a nice young person, 'tis a wondrous thing. So she's come to give thanks. Some of you have come to get you out of purgatory, some for healing. And the rest of you, why have the rest of you come? As an excuse for a journey. Indeed? Absolutely. Absolutely. Many pilgrims come as an excuse for a journey. Those that could read will know where they got out their sins forgiven. You've now entered, pilgrims, the great nave, which runs from that wall there to the bottom of the slope just across there. Wonderful. Stone slabs on the floor. Look at the windows. Look at the sun shining through the coloured glass on the windows, and it's reflected on the stone slabs underneath. In truth, you've walked here, you've come a long, long way, some of you. Do you know, in truth, you'd want to go down on your hands and knees to give thanks to our Lord for bringing you here. This is a Catholic church. Look at the big columns soaring up into the roof there. We're now going to walk up the nave. There's no seats here. We've got big stone slabs on the floor. No seats, nowhere to sit. Here we've got the Neve Altar. You cannot see up further into the church because, like in most churches, behind the Nave Altar we've got these wonderful carved wooden screens. The reredos, it's called. Right, pilgrims, we are going to go up the steps. Can you all manage steps? They're not too steep. At the foot of that, where that bank is there are some stone steps. And we're going to go up the stone steps through the archway into the next area. We also have some stone steps there which you could go up. But pilgrims generally walk up the north aisle, up the steps into the next area. You can't really see up through there. So we're going to go up the steps. And you're now in the crossing, the Transepts. For those of you who could read and know which chapels you're going to go to buy yourselves out of purgatory, we have the Loretto Chapel over there. We've got the Chapel of Thomas a Becket. We've got many little chapels here. Chapel of St Andrew over there. You know where you've got to go. You can't go through here because we've got great big cross scissor arches. You can't go through. There is a small area where, I'm sorry, only the brothers could go through. Alice, poor, I'm just a servant. I'm all right down there, but I can't really go up into this area. You got a lot of money, sir, dressed all in black. You don't have to pay, sir, you're all right, but the rest of you, I think you might have to give a little donation here and there.
And what's a groat?
A groat?
Am I the only one that doesn't know that?
No. You can ask a question. You won't whip my money, that's a groat.
Alice, what are you doing with a groat?
I ain't telling you.
Where'd you get that?
And what could you buy with it one groat?
Not a lot.
How much is a loaf of bread?
I don't buy it. That's half a groat.
Oh, literally.
Very clever.
When I worked in the kitchen, I know I've lost my job now. When I worked in the kitchen, I was paid in bread. Partly pay. Plenty of bread, plenty of beer. Wax end of the candles, good beeswax candles. And I'd a nick a bit now and again. I'll own up
Why did
to
you
it.
lose your job?
How did I lose it?
Yeah,
You
why?
weren't listening, were you?
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII has closed it down. Where were you? Late.
Yeah, late. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, so
I'm looking for a husband and nobody wants me because they reckon I'm bossy.
Oh, right.
I don't think I'm bossy, do you, sir? No, not a pesky one. I like a bit of fun. Right, Pellegrinis. For those it's Italian, that's all I speak. Across through here, wonderful tiles on the floor. Not the slabs down there. They're brown and cream tiles. They got a high glaze on them. I'll show you them over here. Do ask any questions. I know a lot in my little computer. Or my big computer. Right. These are the wonderful stone tiles, brown and cream tiles. These are original floor tiles. Where's that George gone? I haven't lost them. I got to buy them. Right. These are the original tiles here. Put here by the archaeologists about 1906, 1907, when they dug up all the nave and all the presbytery there. This we think is about the floor level right through here. Right?
So are there more tiles underneath all of the grass?
No,
They left
no,
it? Or
no. All this has been dug up.
Okay.
That's all they found.
No, masses, masses and masses. And the interesting thing is, any archaeologists here?
No.
I like to know who I got. When you dig out and you put rubbish on a heap. It's called a spoil heap. For many years, we didn't know where the spoil heap was. They dug this down really deep up here, 3 or 4 feet, 3 or 4 feet. Where was the spoil heap? Where did all the rubbish go? Nobody knew. Couldn't find it. About 3 years ago, we have 2 gardeners here, and they've got a gardening hut across there, and they wanted to have a turning point for the tractor. And while they were digging there, what did they find? The spoil heap. Hundreds and hundreds of shards. I keep meaning to carry one with me, but I can't find them. I've got some at home. We were just picking them up. So it's been taken several years for people the volunteers to wash them and analogue them, etc. So there's loads of tiles, but these were really high grade tiles here. This is a sumptuous place. Pilgrims, we're going to go into the presbytery because this is why you've come. Look at the splendour of this presbytery here. The wonderful tiles on the floor. You've got the big columns soaring up into the big wooden barrelled roof. Look at the windows, the coloured glass in the windows. Look at the shrines, the altars, the statues. It is full of crosses. It's Catholic. It is full of icons. It is wondrous. And this is what some of you have come for, an excuse for a journey. We'll move on. We have 3 kings buried here. If you keep this way, you just walk through a tomb. That's the old bat, aren't you? Master Jordan, would you join me, please?
Oh,
She's got your car, Mark, mate.
Some of you have come as an excuse for a journey. Just you will do. Master Jordan has come for another reason. Is this yours? Master Jordan has come to join the monastery.
You get 64 years first.
He has been sent here by his family. Can you read, sir?
Yeah.
I thought you could. It's a wonderful career. A wonderful career. When Master Jordan joins the... Where are you from, Master Jordan?
Manchester.
Manchester, right. When he joins the monastery, a monk will be given 2 sets of clothes. 2 sets of hose, 2 full tunics, and this is a scapula. We follow the Benedictine rule here. Rule 55 of the Benedictine rule states, Master Jordan's clothes get very old and tired and thin, and his sandals, he's not allowed to throw them away. Gives them to the poor. Look at me. Brother John Vernay, the novice master, gave
Let's
me
not go
this.
around my neck, is it?
If you don't behave, that's where it will go. Right. It's going to take Master Jordan 3 years. You can put your hands down. It's going to take 3 years to train him to become a brother. He can already read, luckily. 'Tis a wonderful career, sir.
Okay.
If you do really well and you, the abbot notices you, in truth, you could be sent to Cambridge, Oxford, to study further theology.
Okay. Sounds good.
3 years to train him. At the end of the first year, if you don't like it, you can leave, in truth.
Okay.
After that first year, he's committed himself. Mistress, you cannot send him any gifts. You cannot write to him. No contact. He has 3, in front of this altar, after 3 years, the high altar, he will take his vows, his promises. Master Jordan's going to promise to stay here. This is his reminders, like a knot in your handkerchief. Master Jordan's going to promise to stay here for the rest of his life. Master Jordan's going to promise to give up everything in his past life. You come here with nothing, sir. And this is the other one. This one is a really hard one, because that is the vow, the promise of obedience, which means, Master Jordan, you have to promise to obey all senior brothers.
What in the world?
Yes, you got 3 years to train, sir. Master Jordan's just told me he comes from Manchester. And so as a brother, in truth, you won't want to take this up, it's really warm, sir. In truth, he's now known as Brother Jordan Manchester. That is how he would be known. I feel very comfortable now that in this wonderful church that I have a monk with me. Got a little job to do, come on. Come on, you all pilgrims, come on.
Seen anything yet? Go on.
Is he on Facebook yet?
Pilgrims,
Don't you dare.
over here we have the tomb, this wonderful tomb of King Edmund. If you can manage the steps between the 2 pillars, if you go up the steps between the 2 pillars and through the door, Abbot Beer, one of our abbots, has just finished building that chapel up there. That chapel is for Edgar. King Edgar, who is the son of the king here. And over in this corner we've got another king buried, Edmund II. How many people of you here, and I hope somebody's got some money, the first abbot, was Abbot Dunstan. And the brothers here built a wonderful shrine. Does anybody want to see the shrine? Well, would be you. Right. Come here, Brother George. Right, this mistress has come to see the shrine. Had you come, pilgrims, on a day when there were services, you would see it. It is absolutely wonderful, stunning. Unfortunately, there's no service today, so you're going to have to pay the brother here, I don't know, a donation or whatever, because this shrine, this wonderful shrine, is under a wooden box right behind the high altar here. You have to pay. I will give you some money, sir. He's good at collecting money. He has a pulley, a rope. And if you pull the rope, no, not on your belt, you pull a rope, right? And this box, in truth, the wooden box will be lifted, pilgrims, for you to see this wonderful shrine. It shimmers in the candlelight. This is banks and banks of candles all the way round here, a terrific heat. And this shrine to Dunstan, one of our abbots, is made with gilded silver. It is absolutely wonderful. Think of the incense, the banks of candles. Wonderful, wonderful sight. Has anyone here been to Cologne Cathedral?
Nearly. It was too hot.
You've been, right? Did you see the... this is true, what I'm saying. Have you seen the shrine... Did you see the shrine of the three Magi?
Must have done.
You would know because you'd have to pay. Things don't alter. You walk round a wonderful cathedral and you look at it all, but the shrine of the three Magi is held under a wooden box, and it is kept in a crypt, like in places like in Westminster Abbey or where you've got to pay to see it, so things don't alter. My colleague, he went there about a month ago, and he said, I don't know what you pay, no idea, but it's not a lot, but you just pay because it's the treasury where all the patterns and the ewers are. So right, we will walk on, pilgrims. 500 years ago there was a door in the wall. Brother Jordan, that's the wax room there where we keep all the candles. Should you be asked by the sacrist to go in and fetch the candles, they're kept in there. And the next little room is down here. There is a door in the wall there, Brother Jordan, where all the vestments are kept. The vestments for the big services that the brothers could go in and collect. Those of you who've come as an excuse for a journey, to see the shrines, the altars, King Arthur's tomb. The site of King Arthur's tomb, almost in a prominent position just in front of the great high altar. The bones that were contained in this big black marble tomb came from down there. They were found, I'll take you down there, they were found down there. I'll tell you the story later. But the brothers, when they'd found the bones, they brought them up here and they built a black marble tomb. Wonderful. And on each corner there was a lion's head, so that this black marble tomb rested on the lion's heads and you could see underneath. If you could read in the 12th century, of which not many people could, this was the place to come. It was marketed well. Many pilgrims came here. And what did they do? Not only did some people gave gifts, but people leave a token, whatever. You see tokens, you see little things tied in trees, don't you? It's a token. And you see here today, somebody's left a token. Some flowers, a few things, they've been left here. So people still leave a small token. Right, I'm going to...
What happened after 1539 then? Did they take the bones away?
I can fast forward you.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
No, I can do whatever you like. Where are the bones now? Do you believe in Arthur? You must believe what you want to believe. The sad thing is, at this point, I had a lead cross, which a gentleman knows has just been stolen from me today, and I'm really upset. I keep hoping that it's going to turn up, or someone will own up that they've stolen, this is true. Where are the bones of Arthur? Well, this monastery was destroyed by King Henry VIII's men. They took away the gold, the silver, they smashed the shrines. We were going through that Reformation. They smashed the shrines, the altars, they hit the heads off the statues. What happened here? Who shall I target? The gentleman from Texas. Let's assume that this gentleman here lives out there. I'm poor. I live on the south side of the precinct there. This gentleman is a farmer. No, beg your pardon. This gentleman makes pewter. Highly respected man in the great street there. Just lost a big order from the abbot, who has ordered lots of pewter plates. Where does his wealth come from? The people that come into this abbey. He's going to be a bit canny. He thinks these relics are really important. The relics that are in the tombs here, Arthur's bones. Maybe one night he got over the wall. Maybe he picked the bones out of various tombs. Maybe he picked the bones out of here. And he and his colleagues mixed them with animal bones. Maybe. We'll hide them. We'll dig a grave. We'll hide them. Dug a hole, hide them. Fast forward, 1909. Behind the great high, you won't find this in the book, behind the great high altar, between the high altar and the shrine of Dunstan, which you've just seen under the box, when the archaeologists were working here, they found a small grave. And when they dug it up, it was full of relics, bones, animal bones, like I've said. So who's to know that maybe some of those bones were King Arthur's bones? We don't know. So what did they do? No DNA testing then. They took these bones away. I have dug, when I've been on archaeological digs and we've taken bones away, they are reinterred in a Christian site, if we think it's come from a Christian site. They took them away and they put them in a monastery somewhere safe. I've lived here all my life, and I like to think that the story of Arthur still goes on. But you believe, pilgrims, what you want to believe. Right, let's move on. Brother
You'd have
Jordan.
thought that now that they have DNA testing, they would have. Yeah. But then how did they prove that that was like Richard III's skull?
I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, but they probably had written. They probably had written evidence or something. I don't know. I've not thought of it.
Hey, brother, don't hit me with your book.
I'll have to talk to you.
Sun's gone down the street.
But you can give me money though whenever you want.
How are you off for time, pilgrims? Anybody got a coach to catch?
No, I've got for 64 years I'm good.
Just so that I know which way to work myself. Right, you're now out of the great church, pilgrims. The big nave and the presbytery up there, that's the church. This south wall is your boundary line. Coming out, this is the area where Brother Jordan lives, works, eats. This is his area. You would not be allowed here. So we're going to walk along here, the cloister, the east side of the cloister.
No. You've got pictures out there. Look, keep your head down, sorry, don't look at this. If it would be him if it wasn't me.
Brother Jordan, would you like to go in there? Just stand on there. Brother Jordan, what time did you get up this morning?
4:30, miss.
4:30, very late. In truth. Every morning at 2, the seccator, the security, that's where it comes from, the brother would come round the dormitory, and the dormitory is just across there. Where those people are sat on a seat, it would have been on the next floor up. So every morning at 2 o'clock the bell rings, and he comes down the night stairs, and he would walk with the rest of the brothers along this east side of the cloister, up through the door we've just come out into the presbytery for his first service of the day. You have to attend 7 services every day. Every time the bell rings to go to service, you stop what you're doing. If you are late, Brother Jordan, there are punishments. This here is the chapter house. Every morning after breakfast, the Benedictine rule is read out, the rule of the day. I've pulled off the rule of the day I keep in here off the net today. Still works. It's all about, today's rule is all about choosing an abbot, the rules of choosing an abbot. If he's found guilty of whatever, punishments. You may have to have pebbles in your shoes all day. You go, and we ladies know when you've got sandals on with a little pebble, it's quite hard to walk. Secondly, could you hold that for me? Secondly, he would have to keep his cowl up. Did you get it up?
There you go.
When his cowl is up like this, it's a visual sign that you cannot talk to him and he cannot talk to you, because most of the time his cowl would be down like that. That's just two of the rules, right? We're going to walk around round the cloister. This is the square cloister where he doesn't stop work. He would be painting, copying, illuminating, praying, games. You've got to have a bit of fun, haven't you? Playing leapfrog.
I like it.
Nine Men's Morris. They would play. Right, let's move on round. Make beer. Yes, the mediary does
I'll
that.
transfer around the golf. Quite liking this down the longer.
You can put it up, it's warm. Everybody likes that. You can put it up.
Have you ever seen yourself?
No.
This, as you can see, is the cloister, the square area here. We are not certain what was in the middle. We're not certain if there was a maze in there or if there was a herb garden. We really don't know. Just across there where that signpost is, that is the kitchen. Every day Brother Jordan has the same food. You would be allowed, sir, fish every day. No meat.
Wow.
Meat only on a feast day, a special feast day. He gets fish every day. He gets a daily allowance of a pound of bread. He would get also a vegetables every day, pulses, whatever vegetables are in season. We don't have tomatoes, we don't have potatoes, they're not invented. But this bit you like, don't drink the water. Nobody drinks the water here, you get the worms if you get the water. He gets a daily allowance of a gallon of ale.
That's better.
Small beer. For those that don't understand gallons, it would be 4 litres of ale a day. He eats in the refectory, this long building here, where this little girl is. That's the bit that's underneath. So it would be on the top, and all meals are taken in silence. If he wishes something at the other end of the table, it's all done by sign language. You see, salt and pepper, fish, pass me the fish, bread, this is bread, loaf of bread, pass me the bread. It's all, I haven't learnt the sign language because I can go on forever, but it's all done by sign language. The abbot in charge of our abbey, Richard Whiting, he was the one that was put through a false trial in Wells, and he's hung, drawn and quartered on the Tor over there, which started off the dissolution of our monastery. He lived in a wonderful house where that tree is there. He held a seat in Parliament, so he mixed with the gentry, the posh people up in London, those that come, you're from London, the posh people. So therefore he had his own kitchen, which was not the same, that's different. The food that was cooked in the abbot's kitchen, which was there, was different to Brother Jordan's. Sumptuous food. Only the men did the cooking, the brothers. Brother Jordan would have had to have spent 1 year working in the kitchen there as part of his training. Food was sumptuous. Only the men did the cooking, because if we look at it now, nothing changes. In the Tudor household, it was prestigious to have a man cook, not somebody poor like me who was poorly paid. And look at them now. If you go to Hampton Court, men. You look at a lot of the men now that do the cooking on the television, right? Here is the big square. This big flat area here is the Great Hall, where in truth we may have had to have fed up to 500 people at one time. Where did this abbey begin? Where did it start? Joseph of Arimathea. Have you heard of Joseph of Arimathea? Jesus' uncle or great uncle. Right. Legend. We don't know. But the wonderful story is, first of all, that Joseph of Arimathea came here with Jesus at the age of 12. We don't know. Nothing is written down. But then we go on after the crucifixion. Dragons. After the crucifixion, Joseph came here on a quest. He was looking for a site to start a Christian community. And he carried with him something secret, something sacred. The blood and the sweat of our dear Lord in a cup. Was it the Holy Grail that Arthur's people went after? We don't know. Was it the cup used at the Last Supper? We don't know. We do know that he landed on the hill over there because this was very marshy. It's behind it. Actually, it's just there. He had a staff which he planted in the ground, and what happened? The staff grew, blossomed, and it became what is now known as the Holy Thorn. We have two behind the visitor centre. The one up here was desecrated by Oliver Cromwell, and it was desecrated about 2 or 3 years ago. But Kew Gardens are at the rescue. We hope it's going to survive. We don't know. So Joseph came here, and on that site over there, he built a daub and wattle church, a wooden church, right? After many, many years, it started to fall down, and the Saxons shored it up with lead and stone. Pilgrims, you're standing on a Saxon graveyard here. Their bodies still many, many feet below you. The brothers decided that they would rebuild, because this place here burnt down, the wooden church built down. The brothers decided to build a new church, to dedicate to Our Lady. And that's what they built. You see, we've got 2 pepper pots left, but there were 4. 4 windows, that was what they built. They had the finest stonemasons in the country, the best. And then they ran out of money. They were digging here. And that's where they discovered the bodies. Well, way, way down, because this land is built up. They discovered a stone slab, and under the stone slab there was a cross, a lead cross, which I normally show people, but has now been stolen today, irreplaceable, however. There was a wooden tree trunk, a hollowed out wooden tree trunk with 2 bodies in it. The bones of a very large man. Was this the body of King Arthur? There was also other bones, Guinevere. And the wonderful legend is that as the monks went to touch the golden hair that was there with Guinevere, it disappeared. Myths, legends. And so the monks took these bones and reinterred them up there and built this wonderful, marvellous black marble tomb. Pilgrims came here, they sold it. If you could read, this was the place to come. Many pilgrims came to see the shrines, the altars, King Arthur's tomb. This abbey couldn't cope. And so they pushed the altar back in this little lady chapel, and you can see the windows are different. They then did an extension on to join the abbey. And that's how the abbey grew there. Any questions? Right. Where do I go from here? Arthur? Was it Arthur? I've just been on a wonderful conference only yesterday, and we had many wonderful people talking about the footsteps of King Arthur. Geoffrey Ash, the best Arthur historian there is. Was Arthur buried here? I think the sum up at the end of the day is you have to believe what you want to believe. But one of the wonderful things, I must write it down to get it in here, was we must always keep updating Arthur because the legend lives on. Right.
Can I just ask you what year was he supposed to have been buried in the first place here?
They discovered this in 1184. This is where I need my cross, which I don't have. There was medieval writing on the cross, medieval Latin. We're talking the Dark Ages, pre-1100s. I think it's about 1000. It's the Dark Ages, 10th century, 9th century. We don't know. Camelot, the reputed Camelot, an Iron Age hill fort on the 303. When they dug it up, when Mr. Alcock dug it up in the 60s, great huge post holes there, a big banqueting hall. There's no doubt that there was someone living in this area who was a chieftain, the same at Tintagel. There is truth, but what truth we don't know, because the Dark Ages, there's nothing written down. Right. Any questions? Right.
That was lovely, thank you.
You're very welcome. I could take you through the Lady Chapel. I don't know what your time is, but I usually finish by going through the Lady. But you don't have
Does Jordan get to keep them? Does he get to keep them?
No. Don't say I want to lose
3 years if he does. Down to the kitchen.
Tell them to take even longer.
Especially because I stay.
Let's Father Jordan, okay?
You know we're going to call it the
This is the New Testament, which was never finished. You can see all this was redone in about 1909 when this site came in the hands of the Church of England. This here represents Adam, and then we get Eve being taken out of the bones of Adam. No doubt it would have gone on to Cain and Abel, the flood, whatever. I don't know, but it was a story. So we come through into this chapel. If you listen, I explain that. The Lady Chapel, sumptuous at the time of the dissolution, my day. The walls were, well, as we all know, the colour for Our Lady is rose, pale pink. And they painted these walls with a pale pink lime wash, not the creams. You can see it stained the walls here, right? Over here we've still got paintings on the walls. The red has sort of embedded itself in here. There's, I think somewhere there's a star up there, stars and moons. Above this grille here, if you can go above that, there is, you can just slightly see some blue paint lapis, the most expensive paint that there was from Argentina. The tiles on the floor, would you hold that for me a minute? The tiles on the floor, I have got it with me. The tiles on the floor were black and white, edged round with lead. And you were the first ones privileged to see this, but I only laminated them this morning.
Wow.
Here you can see the original chapel here, and they pushed it back. But this was all dug over by archaeologists. This was all covered. Can you see? It was filled in. This was done 1907. You see, here are the arches. Can you see? These are where the arches were for the crypt here. I try to explain to people, but it's easier to see it here. So this was all this crypt was dug out in the Victorian period. This is another one, 1904. You see it's full of dirt, and there's trees growing out of the walls. It's very romantic, very Victorian, very romantic. So the last part I'm going to do is to take you around the window here. This north doorway in a very bad state of repair, but that's it, eroded. This is the Old Testament. Overarching, we have the angel Gabriel here. And the angel Gabriel goes to Mary to tell her that she's going to be with child. And Mary then goes to her cousin Elizabeth, and they're both pregnant. And then we have the birth of Jesus. And note it's in a medieval bed, not as we read in the Bible, like in a, in a stable. Then, on the other side, are the shepherds that come. We've just got a little sheep here, but that's all. We've got the shepherds that come to the nativity scene. And following that, we get the wise men, or the astrologers, whatever you like to think of them as. And here are the three of them on some very nice medieval horses. You see, they did it in the style of the day. I don't know why we have 3 beds, but they're the beds. And then we get the slaughter of the innocents, when Herod says, kill every child under the age of 2. And so here we've got the medieval soldiers with the slaughter of the innocents. And I'm told, I'm told that this is Joseph doing the flight into Egypt. So that gives you it's to tell people like me the story, but I can't read and write, the story of the birth of Jesus. I hope you've enjoyed the tour. I hope you've learned to knock. The name is Alice. And the Brother Jordan, I'm afraid you have to stay. You made the promise to stay here for the rest of your life. If you've enjoyed the tour, there's a book out there. Just leave a note in the comment book that you've enjoyed it, because it's wonderful for me. Hello. Good day.
Thank you.
Well done.
You're very welcome. Hello, where's your shoes?
She left them up there.